What's good, my menace society? It is your host with the most, Shadow Look, back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. It's absolutely free. That is how you help my channel get into the algorithm. Highly appreciate if you go ahead and do that. Don't cost a damn thing. Join the madness. Now, I was asked by one of my subscribers about what are my thoughts on these YouTube boxing events that happen, right? Like when two people have beef with each other, they challenge each other to a boxing fight, right? If I think that that's the proper way to handle the beef in a boxing event. Now, keep in mind that these are just my opinions and my opinions only. I'm not here to insult nobody or talk down on people or even pick sides, right? When it comes to this matter, has nothing to do with nothing like that. When it comes to boxing in itself, boxing is a sport. Not just anybody could box. If that would be the case, then everybody would be a boxer. But it's just not that easy, right? Boxing is something that takes a lot of time, commitment, dedication, and training. You know what I mean? Because it's just not out there swinging and thinking that you can fight. It takes skills. It takes strategy. It takes technique. It takes athleticism. It takes a lot of things to be a boxer, right? There's people that train their whole entire lives just to get an opportunity to be on a mid card or just in the beginning card. You know what I mean? Um, because like I said, not just anybody could box. That's why when you have amateur boxing fights or just people that are not even boxers, throw them in a ring, people complain that it's a whack fight, it was boring, it was lame, you know, that was trash because, well, what did you expect from two non-boxers? You have two people that are not boxers in a boxing ring. What you think was going to happen? Of course it was going to be whack. Look at Mike Tyson, one of the greatest of all time, right? But when he got in the ring with Jake Paul, it wasn't the same, right? Because he went a long time without, stepping in the ring, right? And in that he got like a year to train for this event, and still he was rusty. And this is somebody who did that for his career, right? So that goes to show you, that it takes a lot of dedication and skills. It's just not anybody could be thrown in a boxing ring, you know. So I think people need to give a little bit more respect to the sport, right? Um, because like this is just you know, of course these fights are not going to be good. Well, they're not boxers, It's like throwing the chess club against a spelling club in a basketball game. Neither side, neither team is a basketball team. Of course, they're gonna be trash. You get what I'm saying? Now, but when it comes to the overall, you know, the calling each other out for a boxing fight when they had animosity, right? They've been dissing each other, calling each other names, and there's beef, real beef. Real beef is not handled in a boxing ring, and you don't call out somebody that you dislike to a boxing match. You know what I mean? Because if you do that, then you guys don't have beef. Then that's not settling the beef. That's content. Let's have a boxing fight, me and you. Yeah, because that's content. Then this is not really animosity. You're just looking for an excuse to create content. You know what I mean? Because when you really have beef with somebody, you don't meet up for a boxing, event where there's rules and boxing gloves and real animosity. Then you really don't have beef with this individual. Real beef is handled like even for boxers. When real boxers have beef with each other, right? You see it gets out of control in the ring, right? There's security has to come in and everything like that. Yes, because when you really dislike somebody, fuck the rules, fuck all of this. They're looking to hurt each other. You know, when in boxing, you respect the other opponent, and it's a battle of skills. You know what I mean? Just because you could beat somebody in a boxing fight doesn't mean that you could beat them in the streets. Because in the streets, there's no rules, right? So people could throw elbow kicks, headbutt, right? It's like trying to say, just because the boxer, perfect example, just because a boxer beat up an MMA fighter in a boxing fight doesn't mean that he can beat him doesn't mean that the boxer could beat him in an MMA fight. We've seen that with the Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather thing, right? It's just two different things, two different sports, right? These are sports. In the streets, there is no rules, right? So anything could happen. You get what I'm saying? And when you really have beef with somebody, you don't meet up in a boxing ring with rules and stuff like that. No, when you really dislike somebody, there's real animosity. You're looking to hurt the individual, and you catch them when you catch them. You know what I mean? Because then you guys really don't have beef. Then there's really no reason to even meet up for a fight. Because like that is because you respect the other opponent and you're giving him that amount of respect and rules because you're not really looking to hurt him. So then you really don't dislike him. So there really is no beef. So what the fuck are we doing here? Also, we're just looking to create content, but we're trying to masquerade it as beef. So we're trying to play, the situation as beef, but it really isn't. Then it's really just a friendly competition, friendly sport then. And I'm just keeping it real because truth of it, that is how it goes. Like if you dislike somebody, you're not gonna meet them up for a fight. No, when you catch them, it's on and cracking, and anything goes. Because you're full of rage. You really hate this person. Tempers take over. It's not really no friendly competition and stuff like that, right? And people could see it like, oh, well, that's bitch shit, that's lame shit, or that's coward shit. You can say however you want, bro. But a street fight, is not looking to please the audience. This is not a spectacle event. You get me? This is not here to satisfy your likings, right? It's not here to put on a show for you, for your approval. When two people have beef, they don't give a fuck what people are saying or what they're talking about, right? They're looking just to hurt the person. They're not looking to satisfy the audience to see if they like how they handle the matters and situations. Like, who are you guys that they need to please? You get what I'm saying? Like, we're not here to entertain you. We're here to fucking handle what me and him have. We're not here to fucking please your likings, your majesty, right? Like, people want to see this some kind of spectacle, but like I said, they're not here to put on a performance for you. They're there to handle their animosity and their beef by any means. You get what I'm saying? Because when that's real beef, that's real hatred, that's real animosity. Imagine if like all these individuals that had beef, or like let's say these gangs that had beef, they just met up for boxing fights instead of smashing each other in the streets. Then it's not. Then they really don't hate each other. Then it's not really no street shit. Then it's just a friendly competition of who has best fighting skills. Get me? But that's not how real beef is handled. And that's just the reality of things. Boxing, yes, obviously they're looking to entertain the crowd. They're selling pay-per-views, right? So there's a spectacle to it, right? But when two people really have, like, let's say street beef, right? They ain't waiting for no boxing fight or no whatever. They're going and handling business. There's even boxers that have done that. You know what I mean? That they really dislike the other person and they caught them slipping. I forgot which boxer was it, caught him slipping outside the theater, and they got in a big ass fight, and the guy, he ended up fracturing the guy's fucking eye socket or some shit like that. Yeah, I think it was in New York. But yeah, when real boxers have beef, bro, they ain't looking to handle it in no boxing ring, you know what I mean? And that's just the reality, because if not, people are just looking to create content, an excuse to just create content. They're looking to get views and satisfy the audience and entertainment and stuff like that. If it's looking to post the boxing match between these two individuals, then that's not really beef. And I'm just keeping it real, though. I'm not looking to, discredit people or pick sides. But that's just the reality of what real beef is and how real street shit is handled, though. And like I said, you may not see it as the honorable thing to do, but it's not here to please you, though. They're there to handle their whatever they have going on, right? When you're insulting people's character, like calling them pussies and bitches and fucking lames and putting jackets on people and like animosity. Like, fuck that fool. You get what I'm saying? And another thing is like, and if it's like a difference on opinion of why you guys are even gonna handle, like, let's say, fights, right? When an individual's like, let's say, exposing somebody, right, for their behavior, right, and these people want to fight. Fine, they can fight. And let's say the guy that's lying ends up winning. It still doesn't change the fact that you're a liar and that these are the facts, though. You can whoop the guy that's calling you out for your lies, but that still doesn't change the fact that you're a liar, though. So, the victory in itself really doesn't change anything, though. So for these people to get mad and want to call out people for fakes just because they're calling them out for their lies, like, okay, we can get down and you can even win, but that still doesn't change the fact that you're fucking lying and you're still a liar. It's not like all of a sudden because you win the fight, whatever's being said about you it's false. No, you're still this because the evidence shows that you're still this. regardless of the outcomes. You know, and that's just the reality of things. But overall, that's just my breakdown on the matter. What are your thoughts? Leave it in the comments, and Shadow, we out.